Hello, everyone. It's September the 27th, Tuesday. We regretfully have lost another 23 West Virginians. The total death toll in West Virginia now is 7,402 people. I've got some wonderful guests, on with me today, and we'll get to that in just a second. Let's always do the right thing, and let's be respectful and recognize these great folks that we've lost. And I ask you over and over and over that if you know them, please reach out to them. I mean, for crying out loud, the worst thing on the planet is feeling alone. And if you don't know them, offer up your prayers. Some way, somehow, they'll know it. The 7,380th death is a 72-year-old male from Kanawha County. The 7,381st death, a 66-year-old male from Monongalia County. The 7,382nd death, a 90-year-old female from Berkeley County. 7,383rd death, an 87-year-old female from Raleigh County. The 7,384th death, a 78-year-old male from Kanawha County. The 7,385th death, a 94-year-old female from Kanawha County. The 7,386th death, a 91-year-old female from Cabell County. The 7,387th death, an 81-year-old male from Logan County. The 7,388th death, a 92-year-old female from Raleigh County. And we'll do that again. The 7,388th death, a 92-year-old female from Raleigh County. The 7,389th death, an 83-year-old female from Jackson County. The 7,390th death, a 54-year-old male from Kanawha County. The 7,391st death, a 70-year-old male from Kanawha County. The 7,392nd death, a 94-year-old female from Cabell County. The 7,393rd death, a 96-year-old male from Marion County. The 7,394th death, an 84-year-old female from Pocahontas County. The 7,395th death, an 83-year-old female from McDowell County. The 7,396th death, a 94-year-old female from Jackson County. The 7,397th death, an 80-year-old male from Kanawha County. The 7,398th death, an 88-year-old female from Boone County. The 7,399th death, an 87-year-old male from Boone County. The 7,400th death in West Virginia is a 75-year-old male from Hancock County. The 7,401st death, a 72-year-old male from Kanawha County. And the 7,402nd death in West Virginia is an 85-year-old female from Putnam County. If you'll just step back and look at this, I think the youngest that I read was a 54-year-old male from Kanawha County. I don't think nobody else in their 50s, nobody surely in their 40s or whatever it may be. One 66-year-old in their 60s, and everybody else 70s, 80s, and 90s. There is no reason in the world, if you've been vaccinated, for you not to have your booster shot, especially if you're over the age of 50. We can slow this down. In fact, we can almost stop the deaths if we will absolutely get ourselves our booster shots. And without any question right now, this Omicron booster is really important. So with all that being said, please, you got more folks here to talk to you today, but without any question, please consider vaccination, one, but two, get your boosters. And the other thing I always want to add is just what I've added over and over and over. We stand with our freedoms. If people decide, nope, I don't want to do it, and everything, we absolutely are respectful of that. And that's the way we're going to be. But really and truly, all I'm trying to do is encourage and tell you the numbers, tell you the facts, and then hopefully you'll make a decision to get vaccinated. But if not, we're going to be rock solid in being respectful. We've got 1,233 active cases in West Virginia, 293 new positive. That's not very many. That's good. Daily positivity rate of 9.03, cumulative rate of 8.56. We have recovered cases almost 591,000, We have 230 people hospitalized. That's better. We have 37 in the ICU units and 11 on ventilators. And really the better part, whether it be Dr. Marsh or General Hoyer or Dr. Amjad, they've basically predicted that this is exactly what would happen. Look at our green counties in West Virginia now. It's getting better. It's getting better. Absolutely, we knew, or our experts told us that we would be plateauing and everything. In a couple of weeks, they were dead on the money again. I've told you about your booster shot, especially the Omicron booster shot. I continue to tell you how our numbers continue to inch up, and maybe General Hoyer will talk about that in just a second even more. We're at 91.9% of the 65 and older folks that have had at least one shot. That's really, really, really good. Long-term care, wait a minute, hold on just one second. I jumped a page. All the information's on our website about the vaccine calculator and the COVID vaccine info line. All's up there and everything. The vaccine calculator, if you'll go there, register, it's very simple to do. It'll remind you when to get your booster shots. Long-term care facility folks, we've got 92 outbreaks in our long-term care facilities, no outbreaks in our church community, and we have 57 inmates and 21 staff cases. I've told you over and over and over about the homeowner assistance program. If you own a home in West Virginia and you are down on your luck because of whatever the situation may be, in regard to COVID or whatever, just please call us. Let us walk you through the whole thing and see if there's a way that we can really get you some level of assistance and everything. If we can get you qualified, it's real money. And not only real money to you, but it'll be a multiplier effect and great dollars for West Virginia. From a standpoint of giving blood, I recommend with all in me, and so just check with your physician and see that they're on board, and if they're on board, please consider. From the standpoint of discussions about Amendment 2 that's coming up, I've been to a couple of spots, and I'm going to continue to go to spots and everything. I'm not going there to get in a food fight with the other side, whether it be the Senate or whomever it may be. I'm not going there to debate and everything. All I'm trying to do is just educate folks that don't understand what they're voting for, and then the voters will vote. And then we will be respectful to their wishes. At the end of the day, I am absolutely a real believer that if the people understand, they'll get it right. Okay, tomorrow at noon, I'll be hosting an event to unveil Cranberry Corridor as the third route of the West Virginia Mountain Rides program. And so I think we've done 2 and everything. We did 1 right outside of Lewisburg, and this is just a beautification deal, that it's just another way to promote West Virginia. Tourism is exploding in our state. It's great, great, great work by Highways and the Department of Tourism, and we want to just keep on doing that. This is really special stuff, and for people in cars or motorcycles or even bicycles, it is absolutely incredible, the beauty of this state. And so we want people to come from far and near. The new waterfall trail that tourism announced not long ago, had almost instantly now, it's over 20,000 folks that have signed up for that waterfall trail. And I think if I remember correctly, it was like 41 different states are now signed up with 15 or 12, maybe it's 12 folks that have come from foreign countries that are enjoying that waterfall trail. So a lot of good work from tourism. We want to just keep that happening and everything. Now let's get on to the real important stuff, okay? First of all, we've got with us today our coronavirus star, Dr. Clay Marsh, and our great General Hoyer, who has done so much for us. It's just unbelievable. He was our adjutant general, at the National Guard forever and ever, and I've had the honor of serving, not serving with him, but being with him side by side, wading mud and everything, whether it be a flood or whatever it may be, before I ever became the governor. it's easy to see the incredible work that the National Guard has done. It's easy to see, Dr. Amjad and our coronavirus czar, Dr. Clay Marsh, and over and over and over, the lives they saved, the goodness that they brought to the table. But I've got a couple other guests with me today. I've got a young lady from Buchanan Upshur with me, and I've got a site coordinator, and I hope I pronounced this correctly, Michelle Kainer, is that right? How about that? I got that right, pretty good. Okay, but she's a site coordinator with Communities and Schools. This young lady right here, her name's Jessica Williams, and Jessica has been involved in Communities and Schools, and they've been helping a little bit, here and there and everything. But here's a kid that has a resume that's off the chart. I mean, she is absolutely an athlete beyond belief. She's involved in everything you can imagine, from 4-H to cross country to on and on and on. She's got a 3.75 grade point average and everything, and she's wanting to do something now that she knows is difficult and everything. But can you just imagine, and it just blows me away, this young lady is applying to the Air Force Academy. And she wants to be in the Air Force, and she's applying to the Air Force Academy and everything, and she's hopeful that she's going to be able to get in and everything, but she knows that's a real big uphill battle. But she did, she told me something just a little while ago in my office. She said, I guess she was talking to the recruiter from the Air Force, is that correct? And everything. And he or she told her that was really hard, but they really admired her for having the guts to be able to do it. And she just looked at me like it didn't really matter if it was hard. Really and truly, that's what it takes for greatness all across this country all the time. Too many people, when something is a little tough, they lay down. And there are folks that when things get really tough, the tough get going. And really, I so many different times I could refer to my dad, but my dad would say, son, if it's really, really, really hard, it's going to take 2 or 3 days. But if it's impossible, it'll take a couple more. But really, that to me is the grit that makes it all happen. So Jessica, we're really, really proud of you. Now you can't just sit there. You've got to talk to us a little bit. And you got to tell us, because like I said, there's at least 45,000 people that are watching you right now, and they're really, really proud of you and everything. They can't be more proud of you than I am. Your mom's here with us and everything, and great, great folks, that are here from the superintendent of schools in your area and everybody else, people that are here that that absolutely are the backbone of the state, the state office here, and so talk to us. Tell us about this. Tell us how'd you come up with this idea?
It kind of started in middle school. It was something I just thought about doing, and I just continued along with it. I was wanting to go into computer science, so I just continued along that path, which is what got me into the Air Force. What made me think of that, because it's mostly a computer type of branch.
Now pull that a little closer to you, because I want everybody to hear this, okay? Okay. All right, now keep talking.
I really wanted to serve my country and be able to help people in need. So that's what really brought me to wanting to join the Air Force. Then when I talked to the recruiter, he gave me different options, how to get in and the benefits. And he mentioned the Air Force Academy, and he told me how hard it was going to be to get into it, and it's going to take a lot of work. And I'm like, I'm going to try. I really want to try it. Even if I don't get in, I still tried. And I think that's what matters. Well,
I don't know how it can be better than that. I mean, really and truly, you could talk for 3 days. You're not going to pull it off any better than that. So I'd quit at that and everything. But I don't know how it gets any better. I really mean it. It's unbelievable today. If you step right back from this and just in your fair, a lot of kids need some help, and there's lots of stuff that are pulling at kids today that's not very good stuff. When I grew up, really, and General Hoyer's probably 8 or 10 years older than me, and Clay's probably 20 years older than me. But when we grew up, I had play clothes and school clothes. And we played kick the can in the alley at night and played ball in some backyard all the time. And life was pretty dadgum simple. And today you think of all the stuff that's pulling at our kids. And sometimes it's bad stuff, and then you think of all the challenges, if you're fair, all the challenges that our teachers and service personnel and administrators and everything are going through with our kids now, that maybe that they didn't have all these challenges to go through, before. So absolutely, for kids like Jessica to step up, and I want her to hear from Michelle in just a second, because Kathy and I started down this path of communities and schools, and it's done some great stuff, and it's had some great results. And so, Michelle, tell us a little bit about what you're doing and everything, and then we'll keep going.
Okay, well, Governor, I am the Buchanan-Upshur High School Community and Schools Site Coordinator, and Jessica is one of my students that I case manage. And this is my second year at Buchanan-Upshur High School, and I have the privilege of working with a lot of really wonderful staff, all the way from our superintendent to our teachers, to our administrators, to our parent volunteers. And it's really exciting to be able to have such a wonderful opportunity to help students in our community and to help them thrive and grow and to be successful both in high school and for after a high school as well.
Well, we thank you both. I really mean it. Thank you for your courage, and thank you for your hard work. And the only thing I'd add is at some point in time down the trail, if this lady's successful enough to get in the Air Force Academy and everything, I wouldn't want to tee it up against you. That's all there is to it. Because I'd say you're going to be a tough cookie. That's all there is, and so that's really good stuff. So nevertheless, that's all I've got right now. So listen, welcome, and we're really proud of both of you. Thank y'all.
All right, thank you, Governor. Let's now hear from Dr. Clay Marsh, our coronavirus czar.
Well, good morning. I guess almost good afternoon. It's great to be here with Jessica and Michelle and certainly the governor. I'd like to point out that since the last time I've been on the press brief, we have lost a good number of people, and we're still losing about 400 American citizens a day from COVID-19. When we start to look around the world, which we've tried to do to get a feel for what might be coming, we look across the globe and look at Australia, look at Belgium, look at the United Kingdom, where the weather is colder. And we're finding that there has been in some of these countries an elevation in both the number of COVID cases and also hospitalizations. And in fact, the BA.5 variant in these countries is starting to plateau, and a couple of new variants are starting to show themselves. And this really gets back to what the governor has told us repeatedly and mentioned again today. So we know that COVID is a deadly disease for our elders, for people over 50 years old. 93% of the deaths in the United States have been in American citizens over 50 years old, and about 95% of the deaths in West Virginia have been in citizens over 50 years old. We also know that about 75% of the deaths in West Virginia have been in West Virginians over 65 years old. And a new study just came out that looked at the boosters that were available right before the Omicron booster. And if you compare Americans that got all of their boosters versus Americans that were unvaccinated, then we see no matter what your age group, whether your age group is 18 and older, whether your age group is 50 and older, whether your age group is 65 and older, you saw about a 90% reduction in the risk of being hospitalized and you saw between a 5 times and 12 times reduced risk of dying of COVID-19. Now that we have boosters that really target the most current Omicron BA.5 variant, the Omicron booster shots, then we know that it's really, really important and a really great opportunity for people in these age categories particularly to very much reduce their risk of getting COVID-19 and being hospitalized or dying with COVID-19 by getting that booster shot. And now that the booster shots are available for all West Virginians and Americans over 12 years old, it is really important for us to take that step to protect ourselves, to protect our communities. And as the governor said, if people who are fully vaccinated, who've gotten their Omicron booster shot, get sick, get symptoms, then test yourself, because we still have medications like Paxlovid and some of the monoclonal antibodies that still work well. But it's so important to realize that at every age we protect people from getting sick with COVID-19. And importantly, because we start to see now in places where the weather is getting cold, perhaps a elevation in some of the impact of COVID-19, now is the really critical time for all West Virginians to answer the call. As the governor said, pull the rope in the same direction, and please get your Omicron booster shots today, and use the vaccine calculator to both find out if you're eligible and also then schedule an appointment to get your shots. And when you get your Omicron booster shot, please also consider getting your flu shot, because the flu is also likely to come a little early this year and has been really severe in other parts of the world where winter is going on or is just finished. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Dr. Marsh. Next to retired Major General Jim Hoyer, the director of our Joint Interagency Task Force.
Clock's changed, so I get to say good afternoon. So just to reinforce a couple of the points that the governor and Dr. Marsh have made, while our transmission rate has dropped below 1 and has stayed below 1 for a period of time, and our hospital numbers continue to drop to reasonable levels, and as the governor and I like to watch, the number of people who continue to get their first dose continues to move forward. We know from what the governor read in the beginning that older West Virginians continue to die from COVID. And with flu season coming on, it is significantly important that older West Virginians get their Omicron booster as well as get their flu shots and their flu vaccines. So we continue to encourage West Virginians to do that and do it in consultation with your healthcare providers. We know to date that from the state numbers that we manage, we've had approximately 27,500 West Virginians receive their Omicron booster. When you add what we think we have and what we've originally been given from the federal pharmacy program, that's about a total of 40,000 West Virginians. While that number may seem like a lot, it is not nearly the numbers that we need to get to make sure, as the governor says, we continue to blunt this with the tools we have available to us. Also want to let folks know that coming probably around the 18th or through the 20th of October, ACIP will meet and will probably get approval for the pediatric vaccines to be opened up 5 and above. So we at the Interagency Task Force, the team is already working the coordination on the movement of those vaccines so that they are available to parents as soon as they want to get their children vaccinated. Last two things I'll leave you with. Again, I think today is great to see a young lady who's a part of communities in school. I've had the opportunity to work with the First Lady on that and work in conjunction with the Future Leaders program that the Guard has been engaged with. And I understand now from the governor I have a new task, which is to help Jessica get to the Air Force Academy and into the Air Force. Thank you.
All right, thank you, sir. We'll now go to questions from members of the media. The first today from Charles Young with the WV News.
Hi, this is Charles Young from WV News. Governor, I wanted to go back to what you said about Amendment 2 and these community conversations you've been having. As I'm sure you're aware, Senate President Craig Blair and Senator Eric Tarr put out a release this morning kind of questioning the way you're framing Amendment 2 at these events and asking to be included in future ones. Do you have any plans to invite them to join you this afternoon or tomorrow? Thank you.
Charles, listen, the last thing in the world I am wanting to do is start a food fight. I mean, I literally don't want anything to do with a political food fight. A. B is let's just be perfectly fair. You know, Senator Blair, President Blair, and Senator Tarr, they have been at this now for a year. And they've been to county commissions meetings, they've been with meetings with the manufacturers, they've been with all kinds of different folks. They've never invited me. They've never said, Governor, we'd like for you to go and everything and be with us and everything in regard to this. All I'm trying to do is not in any way sit and throw stones. Absolutely, these are good men. I don't want to throw stones at anybody. But literally, our voters do not know what they're voting for. They do not know what they're voting either against or they're voting for. And with all that being said, I'm going to continue without any kind of hoopla. I'm going to continue to try to present to the voters what I think is something that they should be very concerned with. And it is just simply just this. You know, I don't know how to say it any more point blank than just this. Is what we're asking in Amendment 2 to have done is simply say to the voters, see, I'm a real believer in local control. I'm a believer that the folks out there always are going to get it more right than Charleston's going to get it. And Charleston's going to get it more right than Washington, D.C. is going to get it. That's all there is to it. I mean, literally, because what happens is when it comes to Charleston, then you have lobbyists that are representing big companies or whatever it may be, giving legislatures money, propping up their campaign funds or whatever it may be to get their vote. That's the game. That's the game that's always going on. Today, what we have is we have the counties with a guaranteed income stream that pays for everything from schools to police to EMSs to firemen, everything that the counties have going on. If you take that away and you move all that to Charleston, then basically what you're doing is you're just doing just simply what I have said 1,000 times. You're saying, let me come to you as a politician and say to you, give me your wallet. Give me your wallet. And I want you to give me all the money out of your wallet. And I'm going to promise you, as a politician, I'll give it back. Well, at the end of the day, that's a heck of a risk. And it's a big, big, big risk. Today, our counties don't have to do that. People have got to make a decision. Do we want to do that? Now, we can say in Charleston, we're going to give you even more of your money back. We're going to do more things. In all honesty, today we have got a big time surplus. Now, the big time surpluses have enabled us to recruit all kinds of businesses to come to West Virginia and on and on and on. But never have I been asked by anybody that is coming or contemplating coming to West Virginia, I'd come if you didn't have a machinery and inventory tax. I have not been asked that. And the other thing that I want our voters to all understand, there is no guarantee. I'm only going to be here for a short time, and then I'm going to be gone. Now, when I walked in the door, like it or not like it, and I've got these numbers pretty dadgum right. And that is, when I walked in the door, the first words that came to me were, You're 6 months into the year that you're supposed to have a balanced budget, and Governor, we're not going to make it. We're going to end up with $217 or $219 million short the way we project right now this year. I said, well, how can that be? You're supposed to have a balanced budget. Well, then the conversation got worse, because the very next year the number was $497 million short. And then a couple of years after that, it even ballooned in the 6-year plan to $772 million more short. And we had big challenges, big challenges. We dug in, we changed a bunch of stuff, and along the way, it started working. And we absolutely committed ourselves to diversification, and it started working. Now, a great big miss at that point in time that we don't talk about near enough is the miss that we should have tiered the severance tax on coal and oil and gas. We didn't do it, and it's cost us very dearly. But the state of West Virginia is doing really good right now. There's no guarantee that is absolutely going to knock it out of the park year after year after year forevermore. And the problem with where I'm standing is with the risk level. The risk level is, if by chance we don't knock it out of the park and we stub our toe and we have a real live problem, today's severance tax, the increase in severance tax is carrying, whether it be a third or a fourth of the surplus level. Well, we all know that gas and coal prices can be very cyclical. And if they were to happen to turn down, not only would we lose employment, but we would lose those severance dollars in a big way. Now, so the net of the whole thing is just really simple, simply that. Do you want to give up your guaranteed income stream? A guaranteed income stream. You know, do you want to give that up and just bet on the fact that politicians will come through? And politicians will always come through and give you your money back or even more money. And are you willing to really go all in? Because the all in level, if you tag to it the vehicles and you tag to it the machinery and inventory, and if you just tag just nothing for that to it, you know, our Secretary of Revenue that I really have a tremendous confidence in, over and over and over, we've been through the numbers, and the numbers at that level are about $700 million that you're going to pull out of the revenues of West Virginia today, and you're going to base build that obligation. You know, well, at the end of the day, if you awaken to the fact that we don't grow, you know, and we could be in a world of a mess. That's all there is to it. I think the people deserve to know that. Today, a lot of people really and truly probably sitting out there thinking, well, Amendment 2 deals with guns. This doesn't have anything to do with guns. This doesn't have anything to do with anything except just the brass tacks facts of what I'm trying to tell people, and then let them decide what they want to decide. At the end of the day, if the people really understand, I really believe the people will always get it right. But if the special interest, whether it be big companies or whomever it may be, are driving the boat and everything, then that's not very fair to the people. Really, when it boils right down to it, what I want to do is I want to some way get on a serious discussion path to get rid of our personal income tax in West Virginia. I really believe if we go the other way with machinery and inventory or whatever today, we'll never in a million years be able to get rid of our personal income tax. And I think that's a big miss for West Virginia. And therefore, I'm willing at least to say just this, and I can say this with very clear conscience. All you've got to do is take all the companies that my family has and add up how much money it would be worth to me to get rid of the machinery and inventory tax, and I'm telling you, don't do it. Not many politicians are going to do that, are they? Really, at the end of the day, this would benefit my companies more than you can ever imagine, and I'm saying don't do it. Because it absolutely won't put $1 in the hardworking people of this state's pocketbook. It won't help $1 to their wages. And those people are the people that make this thing go. And that's the people that I think we should look after. I'm not looking for a food fight. I'm not looking for a debate. I'm looking for the fact that I have not presented the other side. The other side is what people don't know. They don't know the other side. Let's at least give them a chance to hear the other side. We don't need to be in a debate. We don't need to go through all that. I was never invited to the party before, you know. We don't need to go through all that. What I needed to be able to do is peacefully present my side, and then let's let the people decide. And whatever they decide, I'll be all in. I'll be all in, 100%. You see, from my standpoint, I don't know how there is to lose. First and foremost, I stand rock solid with the hardworking people, the people. Not necessarily, I mean, I welcome all the companies. You got to have the companies to have the jobs. I mean, for crying out loud, you know, you're talking to the biggest business guy in the state. I mean, for crying out loud, you know, I am an absolute promoter of manufacturing and big corporations and all that. I love it. But at the end of the day, we've got to first and foremost look after the working people of this state. And if we want growth to happen in West Virginia, I know exactly how to do it. All you got to do is dial up and look at Tennessee or Texas or Florida. Just dial up and look at what South Carolina's trying to do now, Mississippi, Georgia. Are we going to sit on our hands and absolutely just go right back being in West Virginia of old, of old, of old? We stand within a rock's throw of 2/3 of the population of this country. They got to drive through us to get to those states that I just named. Why don't we capitalize on the moment? You can't do them both. There's no way. That's all I got, Charles. Thank you, buddy.
All right, thanks, Charles. Next to Mark Curtis with Next Star Media.
Good afternoon, Governor and cabinet members. And first of all, I want to salute Jessica for her stepping up and joining the Air Force and be willing to serve this country in uniform. As Jessica, as Governor Justice and General Hoyer will tell you, I'm bragging to them all the time about my daughter, Allie, who's a lieutenant in the United States Army. She's been in 5 years. And more these days, more and more women are stepping up to join all the brave young men who have stepped up to serve this country. So God bless you. Be safe. And again, thank you for your willingness to protect this nation. We are very grateful. Governor, I've got to ask you again about the Mountain Valley Pipeline. The vote is at 5:30 this afternoon on the motion to proceed to debate in the U.S. Senate. We already know through various news sources that the vote's going to fail and that the Mountain Valley Pipeline is not going to, at least this year, is not going to get the permitting changes that'll permit it to be finished. With that said, what are your concerns about that? What do you think the impact will be on West Virginia and our fossil fuel industry? And is this a commentary? I know you've railed before on how business gets done or does not get done in Washington, D.C., but I'd like to get your thoughts as we are hearing that the Mountain Valley Pipeline deal is not going to happen today in the U.S. Senate.
Well, you know, Mark, you guys know me. All I can do is tell you what I think and tell you the truth. I'll make mistakes. I'm not the politician that Senator Manchin's been. I'll never be that. No, nor do I want to be that. I'm not being critical, but at the end of the day, he got hoodwinked in the whole thing, did he not? He really gave up a lot of his soul in standing up for our fossil fuels and standing rock solid for America in a lot of different ways, and went with Chuck Schumer with the idea in mind that Schumer would really come through and really help and everything, and lo and behold, can't be done. It's not going to get done. You know, it's the ultimate hoodwinked. And so, you know, all I can say, Mark, is, you know, we want to diversify in this state. We want to do a lot of great stuff. We're doing it every day and everything. But at the end of the day, we don't turn our back on fossil fuels in this state. We're very proud. We should be very proud, especially the contribution of our coal miners. I mean, it is unbelievable what our gas workers, our oil workers do, but our coal miners have absolutely saved our bacon in this nation over and over and over, and we should damn well never forget that. Now, and I won't. There's no possibility that I will, you know. But with all that being said, you know, Mark, the only other thing that I could add is we've got to show up in the midterm elections. It's just not a slam dunk giveaway. But this nonsense, whether it be our southern border or crime or Afghanistan or whatever it may be, inflation, on and on and on, this nonsense has got to stop. And anybody in their right mind, I don't care. I mean, I would be the first person to say, let's embrace all the alternatives. We just did that with Berkshire Hathaway. Absolutely, we did that with Green Power. And I absolutely am all in. Absolutely embrace the alternatives. But anybody that believes that today in the United States of America or today in this world that we can do without our fossil fuels today is absolutely being frivolous. There's no possibility. There's no possibility. And so with that, with what's about to happen in the Senate, what you're talking about, it's a crying shame. And I don't know what else I can add to that.
All right, thanks, Mark. Governor, I'll turn it back to you.
Okay, I'm gonna go back to just this. Dr. Marsh, I always listen really closely to our, experts. Dr. Marsh reminded us we're still losing about 400 folks a day in this nation. Is that right? Every day? 400 people a day. In the state of West Virginia, we've lost now 7,402 people. And we can identify that, can't we? And we know that the only way we're going to be able to live with this virus and everything, because it's not going away. I mean, we know it's not going away. And we know it's very, very, very infectious right now. And probably when cold weather comes, we're going to go inside, we're going to be closer to one another, and it's going to get worse. And then I'm going to end up reading to you another 23 or whatever it may be. And it's really sad. And we know if we were to get our booster shots or whatever, vaccinations, whatever, we could make it better. We could make it to where we can live with this. But it's not going away. I think Dr. Marsh said that 75% of the deaths that have been in West Virginia are folks over the age of 65. Now, look, Jessica's with us today, and what an incredible story that she has, and the communities and schools, site coordinator, Michelle's with us, and what great work that they're doing, and other folks, that are with us, in the field of education that have done great, great, great stuff. So many, now we have lost so many of our elderly. We're losing that wisdom. The wisdom that they have learned over the decades of their life that they could pass on to the Jessicas or to Michelle's or whomever it may be, all their kids. Literally, at the end of the day, that wisdom is lost to 75% of those 7,402 deaths have been people over the age of 65. We'll miss and we'll never recover from the loss of that wisdom. It's really sad. Now, the only other thing that I heard today that we ought to really remember is just this, is that the flu season's coming. Last year, everybody in the world was wearing a mask all the time or staying indoors. And the flu season wasn't too terrible bad. Without any question, you need to be going to get your flu shots as well. You can get your COVID shots at the same time you're getting your flu shot. But we absolutely know that what we don't want to do is get in a situation where, this winter it just gets compoundingly worse. And the last thing, and this came from General Hoyer and everything, is we know we are significantly, I think it was General Hoyer, maybe Dr. Marsh, but we know we're still significantly behind in getting our booster shots. And so we're here and we continue to encourage you. And the last thing I'd say is I'll turn back to Jessica and Michelle and tell you, my dad was a captain in the Air Force. My dad said many, many times that, when he was working something that he was proud of who he was working with, he would say, "It's been an honor flying with you," and everything. Well, I feel the same with you. And so, Michelle, thank you. And Jessica, thank you. Thanks to her mom. Thanks to all y'all that have done so good. I'm really, 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 it's a proud day for me. And General, do all you can, but at the same time, help anybody from West Virginia always to try to get into our academies. It's phenomenal. I mean, if you think back about the Mountaineer Challenge Academy and the kid that's going to West Point, is that not an incredible story? I mean, it's unbelievable. But this story is just as incredible. So really proud. Mom, I know you're really, really proud. So thank you so much. That's all I've got. Thank you.